Hi, I'm Ed. I've forgotten the date already. I think it's February 17th, isn't it? 17? Yeah, it's February 17th, and it's a Tuesday. And I almost wasn't going to do anything, but Jose Luis is here. My guy that does the heavy lifting of getting the videos onto YouTube and all of that, and doing the videoing right now. And you know, because of what's going on with this with the beer flu, the coronavirus, and the last video I made was downplaying everything. I still am. You know, what's happening in that some place in Italy is terrible. And since the first 3,000 people died mostly in China, that news hit the headlines like crazy. Another couple thousand people have died. I'm not at all belittling or undermining the seriousness of that kind of thing. Anybody dying is problematic for sure. But one of the things that I'm still concerned about is the kind of news we're getting. I mean, you hear a number, they throw out a number, and I mean, we have no way of knowing where the hell they got the number, or, you know, if it's good data or good information or being passed. But anyway, I blasted the whole scaremongering thing, you know, the way the media is involved in, as far as I'm concerned, in this scaremongering. I know it's not that media people mean to scare people, but that's what makes interesting news. But I thought, I'm not gonna make a video about this because I got nothing to say, because my thing is talking about religion and the harm religion does in the world, and as well as the improbability of the existence of any deity. But Jose Luis, my camera guy and worker, he said, I said, religion hasn't said anything about this so far. And he said, oh yeah, they already have started. He's talking about stuff that he saw here in Mexico or online. Jose speaks very little English, by the way, but we converse in Spanish, and he was telling me. So when he said that, oh yeah, they're already doing it. You know, the religious leaders or clergy people are saying it's God's revenge on the evil of the world, so it seems to be pretty hard for them to pick on anybody. Usually they say, you know, when the New Orleans thing, big hurricane hit a few years ago, Pat Robertson, the guy, the older evangelical guy that's made millions and millions of dollars being an evangelical and predicting stuff and doing all that thing. Well, for example, after the hurricane in Louisiana, in New Orleans, he explained that the reason God sent that hurricane to New Orleans because there was a lesbian atheist comedian that lived she lived there in the French Quarter, and God was out to get her, so he sent you know, I mean, it's so fucking dumb when anybody says something like that. I mean, this is God, for Christ's sakes. If if it was me he wants to get rid of, don't you just go zap, you're done, you know? Why the hell would you send a storm that never even bothered this person that he was, Pat Robertson says he was, God was that. But anyway, it looks like the same thing is happening. I don't see how it's going to be hard to blame it on any of their usual targets like atheists, homosexuals. Who else do they like going after? Women. I don't see how they're going to blame it on the homosexuals and the atheists, non-believers are their favorite targets, but because this thing, the people that it's killing are people who are very susceptible. They're elderly, they're already sick, you don't get any details about the story. There's a story in, I think it was Italy, 2 middle-aged people, a woman and a man, doctors, been working with the patients, and they both got the virus thing, and one of them died and the other didn't, but you don't get any details. It's kind of like, I said to Jose Luis before we started the video, I said, if somebody's smoking 3 packs of cigarettes a day and they get this pulmonary, lung disease thing, they're going to be in shit up to their eyeballs. Maybe we should be pointing that out to the world at this point, that, and I know I'm bouncing around here, but the Italy story, I'll bet money Italians are big smokers. So if you get a person that's elderly, a heavy smoker, and maybe already has some weaknesses, it's going to be bad for them, sort of thing. It's still hard for me to get away from this the idea, but I got to go online and see if I can find more religious folks explaining how this is God's punishment for something. I'll be on the list for sure. Atheists are always in the front line. Homosexuals, it'll be all their fault too, somehow. But it's the weirdest thing that God doesn't have a very good aim. How come he's killing the weak and elderly with this, if this is supposed to be some kind of, getting the bad guys? It doesn't seem to be getting many of the bad guys as far as I can see. I mean, what about giving the disease to that guy and his cohorts in Los Angeles that are in jail in Los Angeles, La Luz del Mundo leaders? No, God never seems to get around to that. Does he approve of those guys and what they've been doing? Anyway, I still think it's here where I live. We were downtown yesterday, and it's close to Erie that it's so quiet, and I'm just hoping this thing, we find the answer. What I really hope the doctors find the answer. Some kind of if you get it, you get an injection and take a couple aspirin and lay down for a day or two and you're okay. Something like that happens. We'll hope for that kind of thing. And I'm really hoping, I'm not ignoring the fact that it's a horrible thing. People have lost family members and everything. People have died. Especially in Italy, that thing is happening. No doubt more people are going to die from it and everything. I'm not underplaying that by any means, but I sure still am pissed off that they canceled the baseball. We won't have baseball for, another month. They say at least 2 weeks into after, would amount to about the middle of April at best, because they're not going to move the date up. It can only be pushed back farther, I can imagine. So I'm still really pissed off about that, but I'm trying to be open-minded, still very concerned about the hype and the fear mongering, the panic, and much of it driven by media, by the kind of news we get, by internet rumors and exaggerations and all that too. So, just if you get a look at this or you get to watch this, please just relax. If you get the symptoms and everything, well, get it taken care of. You're probably going to be okay. Just don't be smoking 3 packs of cigarettes a day. Anyway, I really didn't have anything to say because I said I'm so damn distracted by this, this virus thing that, and how the world is just shutting down. I mean, our little town here is so quiet. Not as bad as some places. It got some sense of normalcy. When we went downtown in a taxi yesterday, and there's people around in some cars, but just a lot fewer. So anyway, I don't have much to say. I'd like to have, maybe soon I'll have more information to have a go at how the religious folks are explaining this thing. And it's obviously God's pissed off about something. Maybe they'll figure out a way to blame it on old folks. I do. No, they'll never do that. Anyway, if I find out any more information, specific things, there's got to be lots of specific preachers online who are shooting their mouth off. But that's all for today. This thing's getting too long. And see you next time.